Hello, comic book fans. This is Blue Goblin bringing you my first retro comic book review. This was requested to me by YouTube user Amazing Spider-Man 2. He asked me to do a Secret Wars review, and I would if I owned the series. I don't remember everything that happened in that series. I would have to read it. I would have to own it and then read it again before I give my full-hearted review on it. So I'm sorry, ASM2. Until I can get Secret Wars and until I can thoroughly read it and thoroughly remember everything that happened in it, I won't be able to review it. But I did tell him about a certain miniseries that I was willing to make my first retro review. It is none other than the 4-issue miniseries of Firestar. Now, yes, Firestar was from that cartoon, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It was a good cartoon. Don't get me wrong. I love classic comic book cartoons, no matter, excuse me, no matter how cheesy they get in future times. You know, but back then, back in the early '80s, that was the shit to watch. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a comic book follower like me, you know that this is far beyond Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. This is the comic book origin of little Angelica Jones, aka Firestar. This is really, really good. Now, keep in mind, this review, once again, is strictly my opinion and nobody else's, and there are going to be some parts that I'll intentionally leave out because, you know me, I don't tend to want to spoil too much when I think the story is so good, and this is no exception. This is a immortal classic storyline. This is very good. I will tell you that this does not lead up to her joining the New Warriors. She doesn't join the New Warriors until the New Warriors series started with issue 1. But this is still one of the miniseries to own. It's written by Tom DeFalco. Got to give Mr. DeFalco props. This is good stuff. Let's start with issue 1. This issue shows us Angelica's grandmother showing her the mark of the M on her palm, saying that she's special. Angelica doesn't register the fact that she should really consider that her being a mutant, because the mark of the M on her palm signifies that you're a mutant and you have special abilities. This is a really good beginning to a really good miniseries. Angelica puts up with a lot of bullshit throughout this entire story, and this is where it all begins. It really begins mainly near the end of this issue. Near the end of this issue is when Angelica's nightmare begins, and it's very nicely explained, very nicely detailed, and it picks us right up into issue 2 after Emma Frost and the Hellfire Club recruit Angelica Jones for a special training sessions. And it's here that we learn that Angelica, a.k.a. Firestar, I don't know if it's at the end of issue 2 or if at the beginning of issue 3, I don't remember, but we find out that she was initially picked up to be trained as an assassin to assassinate a member of the Hellfire Club. Now, I'm not going to tell you who she was trained to assassinate. If you want to know that, you got to read this miniseries. I'm not going to spoil that. But this is really good stuff. Angelica's being trained how to use her powers, and she doesn't do that bad of a job. Even Emma Frost herself pointed that out. She's doing incredible for a rookie. And we see cameos from the New Mutants. This is really good stuff. You know, we see Angelica's love for horseback riding, and it's very nicely done. I love the artwork. Tom DeFalco's writing, some of his writing at its best. It's really nicely done. And we go into issue number 3. Now, this is where the shit hits the fan. This is Firestar's. Here, let me let you see that awesome cover really up close. Isn't that awesome? That's just good stuff. This is where, like I said, the shit hits the fan, and we see one of Firestar's very first and biggest public outburst with her powers, and we see the real fear and hatred from humanity toward mutants in this issue. This is, wow. This is a really good read. But But like again, you have to read issue 1 and 2 before you read this one. You'll still get a kick out of reading this one, but I recommend go ahead and starting at issue 1, just read the whole thing through. But this right here is a good one. This is a good issue. I love it. And it takes us into issue 4. Now, there you go. Issue number 4, that is one of my favorite comic book covers. It's plain, it's simple, it's sweet, it's Firestar in full costume, using her powers. Very good. I love this picture so much. I once had it hanging on my wall. This is real, not the book, the picture. But this is really nicely done. This is the issue where Firestar wises up to Emma Frost's false pretenses, her Emma acting all sweet and humble and loving toward Angelica, being a loving being a loving teacher. This is where Angelica realizes it was all bullshit. All the pain she suffered after she was recruited, all the torture and all the humiliation she suffered throughout Emma Frost's training, she finds out it was all because of Emma Frost. And Firestar decides to test her powers and test her strength against a worthy opponent, and man, was this a good book. I couldn't get enough of this issue. I'm not going to spoil anything. This is incredibly done. It's well written, and the ending is the ending is cute. It's a happy ending, but like I said before, it doesn't end with her joining the New Warriors, which I don't mind. It's really, really good. It's very well done. So in a nutshell, that's my opinion of the 4-issue miniseries of Firestar. It's one of the best miniseries I've ever read. I'm not going to put it all the way up there with miniseries like Crisis on Infinite Earths or anything like that, but this is definitely a miniseries to own if you love Marvel Comics. If you don't know anything about Firestar and you read this book, and you read this series, you will enjoy it. I promise you. If you don't enjoy it, then you probably shouldn't be reading comic books. This is very nicely done. It's some of Tom DeFalco's best writing. I could not get enough of it. You know, it can be a little, it's like, the only problem I had with it, it was hard to remember a couple of key things that happened throughout issues of Uncanny X-Men that happened during the storyline. There was a couple of issues of X-Men that you had to read during this miniseries in order to fully understand the story. But other than that, this is very nicely done. This is a miniseries I highly recommend you pick up. If you live near a comic book shop that sells back issues, and if you find this miniseries, as long as it's not too expensive, I recommend you go ahead and buy it, because it's very nicely done. I wish they were still 75 cents, but unfortunately inflation has kicked in. But it's very good, it's very nicely done, and I think it was a worthwhile choice for my first retro comic review. So that's what I thought about Firestar. So if you like my opinions, whether you did or not, go ahead and post a comment. Make sure it's a nice comment. Nobody will see a rude one. And I want to thank the fans for subscribing to me and keep sending me messages saying they like my reviews. I thoroughly appreciate that. And until my next video, see y'all later.